Turn off the lights and lock your doors because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story, it's a curse that'll claw its way into your nightmares and never let go. I was the fool who signed up for the night shift at the forsaken meat plant on Slaughter Lane. A slaughterhouse of the damned where guards don't quit, they vanish, or they're found gibbering wrecks, clawing at shadows that claw back. I ignored the tales, rent was late, and hunger trumped fear. I was wrong. Something's alive in there, something older than time, rotting alive and ravenous. It's not just a thing, it's a presence, a hunger that knows your pulse before you do. It's listening to me spill this and now it's listening to you. Keep going and it'll have your name too, etched in blood. 8:30 p.m. The meat plant hulkied under a moonless sky, a festering mausoleum of cracked concrete and rusted steel, walls smeared with stains that pulsed faintly in the dark. Hooks swung from chains, clinking like bones, dripping something black and syrupy onto the floor. The air was a slaughterhouse stench, blood, bile, and decay so thick it stuck in my throat like tar. I punched in, barricaded myself in the watch post, a crumbling concrete box with a lantern that buzzed like a dying fly, a radio spitting garbled moans, and a mirror that reflected my face wrong, eyes too wide, mouth twitching. The silence was a lie. Beneath it, a drip, 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 slow and wet, echoing from the guts of the place. 10 p.m. The drip turned to a thud, low, meaty, shaking the walls like a heartbeat. My skin prickled. The radio hissed, static warped into a voice, rasping and wet. We're waiting. My gut twisted, I pressed my face to the window, breath fogging the grime. Chains swayed, hooks glinted, dragging shadows that bent and stretched, reaching for something alive. The lantern flickered, dimmed, flared crimson, painting the room in a butcher's haze. Something scratched the glass, slow, deliberate, nails on bone. I didn't move. It scratched again, harder, deeper. 11 p.m. A groan rumbled, deep, guttural, vibrating my teeth. I grabbed the flashlight, its beam jittered as I stepped into the plant. The floor was alive, slick with black sludge, warm, pulsing under my boots, studded with chunks that squirmed when I stepped on them. My light hit a hook, coated in dripping flesh, peeling off in strips, hitting the ground with a wet slap. The whispers began, soft, slimy, worming through my ears. Down here. Bleed slow. Join us. They swelled, hundreds of voices, gargling, sobbing, shrieking, tearing at my mind. A scrape sounded, metal grinding flesh, closer, circling, hunting. The lights died, flashed red, died again, each pulse revealing it. A shape in the curing room, towering, hunched, skin glistening like flayed meat left to rot. It twitched, unfolded, joints popping, limbs sprawling, too many, too wrong. No face, just a gash, raw and weeping, splitting wider as eyes erupted inside, dozens, yellow, leaking pus rolling toward me. The whispers turned to howls. Look at US. Feed US. Break for US. I stumbled, my foot sank into something soft, alive. The beam hit it, an arm, swollen, veins throbbing, clawing free. More burst up, legs, heads, flesh fusing into a writhing mass, reaching with hands that wept black. I ran, boots slipping, air choking with rot so thick I gagged blood. Chains lashed out, hooks snagged my flesh, tearing strips, dragging me back. The thing followed, slurching, slurping, its gash a maw now lined with jagged teeth that gnashed the air. Pipes above ruptured, gore rained, scalding my skin, sizzling as it ate through my coat. Something writhed inside them, claws shredded metal, screaming my name in a voice that wasn't human. The walls bled, crimson flooded, rising fast, lapping at my knees, burning like acid. I hit the freezer doors, rusted, locked, pounded them, nails splitting, blood mixing with the tide. The whispers roared, and no escape. You're ours. Hands grabbed, icy, slimy, yanking my legs, my hair. I swung the flashlight, cracked a skull that grinned back, eyeless, dripping. The thing loomed, its flesh peeled open, ribs splitting to show a cage of bodies, twisted, fused, my face among them, mouthing my screams. Its tongue lolled, long, scalding, brushing my neck, sweet now, soon sour. I clawed the door, felt it give, tumbled into darkness. The freezer was a tomb, carcasses swung, split wide, guts pulsing, spilling onto me. The door buckled, claws punched through, steel screaming. Whispers chanted, open it, feast, die. Chains dropped, wrapped my throat, my chest, cutting deep, pulling tight. Something bit my calf, teeth sank, tore. I thrashed, felt meat give, heard a wet snarl. The floor cracked, hands erupted, dragging me into ice that seared. The thing crashed in, its maw gaped, swallowing air, eyes blinking inside my head now, watching from within. I crawled, blind, bleeding, found the post, barricaded it with anything I could lift. The mirror exploded, my reflection grinned, black-toothed, drooling tar. The radio shrieked, "We're everywhere." The thing pounded, walls split, dust choked me, blood rained from cracks. Faces mashed the window, flayed, tongues lolling, chewing their own lips, chanting my name in 1,000 voices. The ceiling caved, hooks fell, piercing my arms, my legs pinning me. The floor dissolved, hands dragged me down into sludge that breathed, that swallowed. Darkness took me, then red light bled through. The thing towered, its gash a void, endless, pulling light, pulling me. "Look," it gurgled, splitting my skull. I saw inside, a sea of flesh, bodies writhing, melting, my face everywhere, screaming, begging. Hands, hundreds, clawed my eyes, my tongue, my guts, tearing me apart. Tongue hot, barbed, wrapped my face, squeezed, tasted. Chains tightened, bones snapped. It laughed, wet, eternal, drowning me as the world collapsed. Dawn broke, I don't know how. They found me in the mud, flayed, broken, black ooze pumping from wounds that writhe. The plant stood still, no blood, no thing. But it's not gone. It's in me, whispers shredding my mind, hooks tugging my veins. My skin peels, mouths form, gnashing, eyes weep inside me. I don't sleep, its tongue licks me awake, its claws carve my dreams. They're hiring again. Don't go. It's awake, starving, infinite. Last night I felt it, chains around my heart pulling. A hand, cold, dripping, gripped my throat in the dark. It's here. It's yours now. Run. Story 2. Listen close, because this isn't some campfire tale. It's what clawed me apart on the night shift at the Millers Road factory. People don't just quit that job, they disappear or they come back wrong, hollowed out. I took it anyway, chasing a paycheck, ignoring the whispers about the place. Big mistake. Something's alive in there, something ancient, rotting and starving. It doesn't let go. And if you hear this, it's already got your scent. You're next. 10 p.m. The factory crouched in the dark like a festering wound, rusted machines hulking in shadows, pipes leaking black sludge that pooled on the floor. The air was rancid, oil, rot, and something metallic like blood gone bad. I locked myself in the guard station, a rusted shack with a dying bulb, a crackling radio, and a window smeared with filth. The machines growled low, vibrating my teeth. Then they stopped, dead silence, thick and wrong. Midnight. A wet slap hit the floor, loud, meaty, echoing from the dark. My breath hitched. The radio spat static, then died. I pressed my face to the window, shapes twisted in the gloom, too long, too bent. My skin crawled. The rules said check every sound, but my gut screamed no. I grabbed the flashlight anyway, its beam shook as I stepped out. The floor glistened, black, oily, streaked with chunks of something fleshy. The whispers started, low, gurgling like throats clogged with mud. Down here. Taste us. Break for us. They swarmed my head, overlapping, clawing inside. My light flickered, caught legs under a machine, pale and twitching, too many, snapping backward. A hand shot out, swollen, oozing, nails peeling, grabbing at nothing. The light strobed red, blood red, showing it. A mass of flesh, faces fused, mouths gaping, eyes rolling blind. It moved, fast, dragging itself with a sickening squelch, tearing as it went. The moans erupted. Stay. Feed us. I stumbled back. Pipes above burst, raining black slime that burned my skin. Something thrashed inside them, claws raking metal, shrieking. I ran, slipping, gagging on the stench, death, wet and sour. It followed, skittering, snapping, always inches away, its breath hot and rancid on my neck. I hit the station, locked the door, glass rattled as it slammed against it. The window fogged, steamy, alive, then cracked under a dozen hands, bloated and dripping. The radio screamed, "We see you." Faces mashed the glass, melted, eyeless, jaws unhinged, drooling black. The walls buckled, fingers punched through, cold and slimy, wrapping my arms, my throat. I clawed free, blood ran, mine or its, I couldn't tell. The floor split, hands erupted, skeletal, oozing rot, dragging me down. The thing loomed, taller now, a tower of flesh and bone, mouths chanting my name. Its voice gurgled, "Look or die." I shut my eyes, felt teeth graze my face, wet and sharp. The shack collapsed, metal screamed, glass exploded. Something heavy pinned me, cold, pulsing, laughing through my skull. Forever now. I woke at dawn, sprawled in the lot, skin shredded, bones bruised black. The factory stood silent, no blood, no thing. They called it a breakdown, but I know. It's in me, moaning in my veins, clawing my dreams. My flesh swells, things move under it, whispering. They're hiring again. Don't go. It's waiting, starving, endless. And last night, I felt it. A hand, cold, wet, grabbing my leg in the dark. It's here. With me. With you. Story 3. You ever feel like something's watching you, something you can't see but it's there breathing down your neck? That's how it started. The name doesn't matter. What matters is what happened on that night shift at the warehouse off Route 17. They warned people, workers quit, people vanished, nobody talked about it. But money was tight. And money won't save you from what's in there. Nothing will. By the end of this, you'll wish you never heard this story. Because it's still out there, and it listens. 11 p.m. The warehouse hulked in the dark like a rotting carcass, shelves sagging with moldy boxes, lights buzzing like dying insects. The air hit thick and sour like something had crawled in and died years ago. The security booth was a glass coffin with a desk, a creaky chair, and monitors spitting static. The silence was wrong, thick, pressing, waiting to snap. Eyes locked on the screens. Then the first sound came. A scrape, slow, deliberate, metal on concrete, echoing from the dark. The camera showed nothing but shadows stretching too long, bending wrong. Pulse kicking up. Just the building, whispered out, but the voice trembled. Then the lights flickered and the monitors froze, every screen showing aisle 9, empty, except for a shadow that wasn't there before. Tall, jagged, swaying like it was alive. 1 a.m. The whisper started. Not words, just a hiss, wet and guttural, slithering through the walls. Breath caught in the throat. It grew louder, splitting into voices, too many, too close. See us. Cut you. Stay. Hands shaking, gripping the flashlight. The beam barely cut the dark outside the booth. The air turned frigid, reeking of blood and decay, so thick it clawed at the throat. A call out, who's there? Silence. Then a laugh, low, bubbling like something drowning. A step into the warehouse. The lights pulsed red, then black, then red again, each flash bringing it closer. A thing, too tall, spine bent backward, arms dragging, fingers twitching like spiders. Its head jerked, no face, just a black void with holes that saw. The whispers turned into shrieks. Look. Look. Feet scrambling, slipping on wet floors, wet with what didn't want to know. It followed, cracking, skittering, always just behind. The booth was the only shot. The door slammed, locked, panting, sweat-stinging eyes. The monitors flared, its face filled every screen, pits for eyes, mouth gaping, drooling shadows. The glass rattled, claws raked it, deep and slow, splintering the edges. A scream into the radio, static roared back, then a voice, "You're ours." The lights died. Something cold wrapped around the ankle, wet, bony, pulling. Kicking free, sobbing as the whispers chanted a name. Hours blurred. The thing breathed in the ear, ragged, hungry, promising pain. Fingers brushed the face, the throat, leaving burns that oozed. The booth shook, wood snapped, glass shattered inward. Clawing at the floor, dragging toward nothing. Its laugh filled the skull, wet, endless, splitting the mind. Dawn broke. Found in the lot, curled up, claw marks carved into the chest, black blood seeping. The tapes. Blank. The warehouse. Still. But it's not gone. Every night, whispers in the walls, scratches under the bed. The reflection shows it behind, closer each time, smiling with no mouth. Skin rotting where it touched. Sleep doesn't come. Can't. They're hiring again for that shift. Don't go. It knows now. It knows you now. It's waiting. And when it whispers your name, you'll feel it too.